Imagine this. You're in a relationship you once believed was safe, a place where your heart felt protected. Every sweet message, every promise of a bright future made you believe you had finally found the right person. But then one day the truth hits like an icy blade. The person you love has betrayed you. For anyone, that discovery is enough to turn the world grey. But when the betrayer is a narcissist, the pain is far more than heartbreak. It feels like a surgical cut etched into your memory, leaving you stunned and confused. Why me? What did I do wrong? What makes betrayal from a narcissist different is this. To them, cheating isn't a moment of weakness. It's a strategy, a way to feed their twisted ego, to prove to themselves that they're still desirable, still powerful, still able to control your emotions like a puppet on strings. In their world, genuine love, compassion, or loyalty simply don't exist. What does exist are cold calculations, endless power games, and an insatiable hunger called narcissistic supply. Every admiring glance, every conquest is like a drug hit that helps them keep their grand illusion alive. So when you discover their betrayal, you're not just dealing with the loss of trust. You're pulled into a vortex of psychological manipulation. You blame yourself. Wasn't I good enough? Was I too blind? And that's exactly when they tighten their grip, with denial, empty sweet words, or even fake tears. But take a breath, pause. Here's the truth you need to hold on to. You are not the cause. A narcissist's infidelity never reflects your worth. It's the result of their own emptiness, a black hole that swallows everything but is never filled. In this video, we'll dive into why narcissists cheat, the tactics they use to manipulate your emotions, how they react when they're caught, and most importantly, what you can do to hold on to your value, protect your heart, and step out of this toxic spiral. Think of this not just as an explanation, but as a gentle reminder you deserve real love, not to be a pawn in someone else's game. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so we can continue uncovering the truth behind manipulative relationships and help you reclaim the peace you truly deserve. Part 1. The nature of infidelity in a narcissist. When people think about betrayal, most picture it as something impulsive, a moment of weakness, a sudden temptation, a mistake that might later bring guilt and an attempt to make things right. But for a narcissist, cheating isn't just a lapse in judgment. It's a tool, a carefully calculated strategy. Sometimes it's even a built-in part of how they exist. Look closely. When an ordinary person cheats, no matter the reason, there's usually guilt, shame, or regret, and often a desire to repair the damage. A narcissist, on the other hand, sees cheating as a power game. For them, seducing someone new isn't about love, it's about proving they can, proving they're attractive enough, powerful enough, clever enough to fool the very person who trusts them. In their mind, cheating is fuel for the ego. Narcissists constantly crave recognition, admiration, and attention, what psychology calls narcissistic supply. That supply is like oxygen for them. Without it, they feel suffocated, empty, stripped of purpose, and cheating, with its secrecy, novelty, and sense of conquest, becomes the strongest stimulant to fill the endless void inside them. That's why you'll often see them jumping from one relationship to another, not because you're not enough, not because you're not attractive, but because in their world, no one is ever enough. They can love you passionately in the morning, then by evening be chasing the admiration of someone else. Think of a narcissist like an addict. What they're hooked on isn't love, it's the rush of power that comes from being desired. Every time they succeed at seducing, deceiving, or keeping someone hooked, they get high, like taking a hit of a drug. But just like with any addiction, the high never lasts. It quickly fades, leaving a deeper emptiness, pushing them into an endless loop. Conquest, boredom, betrayal, conquest again. And here's something you need to remember. For a narcissist, cheating isn't an accident. It's their nature. In their twisted logic, having someone else to admire and worship them isn't wrong, it's their right. They rationalize it with lines like, "I deserve more," or "If you're not giving me enough, I can find it elsewhere." In that distorted worldview, loyalty is a luxury, and betrayal is just a privilege they grant themselves. Even more dangerous, cheating isn't only about personal gratification, it's also a weapon of control. A narcissist will sometimes use betrayal as a test to see how you react. If you break down, rage, beg, or cry, every one of those reactions becomes proof to them that they still have power over your emotions, and for them, that power is the sweetest reward of all. In many cases, infidelity also serves as revenge. If they feel you haven't given them enough attention or failed to meet their demands, they see it as your betrayal. And to balance the scales, they'll betray you in the most ruthless way possible. In their mind, it's not a mistake, it's justice. But in reality, all of it points to one thing: inner emptiness. A narcissist may project charm, confidence, and allure, but deep inside, they're consumed by the fear of never being enough. Not beautiful enough, not powerful enough, not admired enough. And they try to fill that void with endless affairs and conquests. What you must understand is this: their betrayal has nothing to do with your worth. It doesn't mean you weren't good enough, loving enough, or devoted enough. It's because within them exists a black hole. A void no person, no achievement, no amount of devotion could ever fill. So when you're betrayed, remember this: it's not proof of your inadequacy, it's proof of who they are. Someone who will never know what enough feels like. Someone who will never know what true love really is. By the end of this part, one truth should be clear. For a narcissist, cheating isn't a mistake. It's a habit. It's a trait. It's the cycle they create to feed an empty ego. And the only thing you need to hold on to is this: you are not to blame. Part 2. Manipulation Tactics in Love. From the very first moment, a narcissist rarely shows up as a betrayer. They enter your life with magnetic charm, the kind of gaze that feels like it sees right through you, words so smooth you start to believe the universe itself arranged your meeting. They make you think you finally found the one, the soulmate who can reach emotional depths no one else has ever touched. But what you're really seeing is nothing more than a perfectly crafted mask. It begins with a downpour of affection. Your phone lights up constantly with messages, endless sweet words that never seem to stop. They shower you with compliments, painting you as their queen, their savior, the only one who could possibly complete their life. Conversations stretch late into the night, filled with promises of a house, children, and an eternal future together. Everything happens so fast you barely have time to question it. Swept up in the storm, you're dazzled and intoxicated, unaware that every word, every glance has been carefully designed to dismantle your defenses. While you're lost in the haze of this love bombing, they are quietly observing. Don't think their actions are impulsive. They're cold strategists, recording every reaction. When you laugh, when you sigh, when you go silent, it all gets stored like data in an experiment. They test you in small ways, making a mistake to see if you forgive, disappearing for a day to see if you panic. Each time you bend, they make a mental note. Each concession gives them more control. Without realizing it, you've become the mouse in their maze, and they're calmly watching how you run. They know if you have too much time to reflect, you might notice cracks in the mask. That's why speed is their weapon. After just a few dates, they're talking about moving in. Within weeks, they mention marriage, kids, forever. It feels like epic love sweeping you both along, but in reality, it's their way of locking you in before you see the truth. To deepen your trust, they'll wrap themselves in tragic stories. Maybe it's a wounded childhood, abandonment by parents, or a betrayal by some heartless ex. Hearing these tales stirs your compassion. You want to be the one to heal them, to prove not everyone is cruel, but often those stories are scripts, crafted to elicit pity, and once you step into the role of rescuer, you become easier to manipulate, easier to forgive what you otherwise wouldn't. Once your guard is down, they start slipping in sensitive topics. One emotional night they might mention financial struggles, an unlucky debt, or family burdens. They'll phrase it so cleverly you feel like helping just once will make you the most special person in their world, and so, many partners willingly hand over money, sacrifice time, even give up their own peace of mind, all to prove their love. But the more you give, the more you lose control, and the more they take. These tactics work because they target the deepest human desires, to be loved, to feel connected, to be someone's only one. When you believe you're the center of their universe, your brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin, the hormones of love, bonding, and attachment. Just like a drug, the more you indulge, the harder it becomes to let go, even when the truth begins to show. The scariest part isn't that they lie, it's that they make you doubt yourself. You don't just believe their words, you start questioning your own instincts. Maybe I'm too sensitive. Maybe I need to be more patient. That's the exact moment their manipulation has succeeded, transforming you from a free individual into a compliant puppet. If you've ever found yourself in a relationship that moved too fast, felt too intense, too perfect to be real, pause. Real love takes time. It grows slowly, patiently, honestly. The whirlwind promises, the dramatic tears, the instant fairy tale, they're usually just the opening act of a toxic game. By now you can see, a narcissist betrayal doesn't come out of nowhere. It's planted during the very first stage of love, in the manipulation itself. And once you're caught in that cycle, distinguishing genuine love from the game becomes one of the most painful challenges you'll ever face. Part 3. Why they're never faithful. If you've stayed with me this far, you already see it. A narcissist's love is nothing but an illusion, built on tactics and tricks. But there's a harsher truth to face. They are never faithful to anyone. This isn't a cruel judgment, it's the core of their psychology. In a narcissist world, stability feels like prison. A calm, steady relationship, day after day with the same routines. What most people treasure as safety and intimacy to them is suffocating. What you see as peace, they see as monotony slowly eating away at their soul. And when boredom sets in, they reach for the escape hatch, another affair. Cheating, in their eyes, is like a drug. It brings the thrill of novelty, the rush of conquest, the adrenaline of danger. Each secret relationship is a gamble, reckless yet intoxicating. They live for the duality, the perfect partner on the surface, the hidden player behind the curtain. The secrecy doesn't weigh them down, it excites them. But there's an even deeper reason. For narcissists, infidelity is about power. Their universe has one center, themselves. They believe they deserve constant admiration, obedience, and unconditional love from everyone around them. So when you fail to treat them like the center of the universe, they see it as betrayal. And in retaliation they betray you because in their mind it's only fair. Here lies the frightening part. They don't see it as wrong. To them, cheating is justice. In their twisted logic, it restores balance and proves they still hold the power, still control the game. You've probably heard excuses like, "I only did this because you stopped caring," or "You didn't meet my needs, so I had no choice but to find someone else." These aren't confessions of regret, they're blame-shifting strategies. In their script, they betray you, cast themselves as the victim, and leave you carrying the weight of guilt. But even when they win these secret games, the excitement never lasts. The new lover, who once felt intoxicating, quickly becomes ordinary. The thrill evaporates, the boredom returns, and the cycle begins again. Conquest, boredom, betrayal, conquest. An endless loop no one can ever break for them. The tragic truth is that narcissists are hollow at their core. The more they run, the deeper they fall into emptiness. They believe constant conquests and endless admiration will fill the void, but all it proves is that nothing and no one will ever be enough. And you, the one who gave your heart, who sacrificed and stayed, are left with the painful realization that loyalty from them never existed. But hear this clearly. It has nothing to do with your worth. You are not unlovable. You are not inadequate. Their faithlessness is a mirror of who they are, a person trapped in a bottomless hunger, where loyalty has no place. When you finally see this, the self-blame begins to fade. You understand you can't change their nature. You can't fill the black hole inside them. And that realization, painful as it is also your first step toward freedom. So remember this, their lack of fidelity isn't a rare slip, it's their rule. They will always seek the new, always chase validation, always justify betrayal as some warped form of fairness. And as the cycle keeps repeating, one truth becomes clear. The problem was never you. Part 4. When they're caught. The moment you expose a narcissist's betrayal, it's never just a simple conversation about the truth. For them, it's a life or death battle for their fragile yet vicious ego. Don't expect a sincere apology. Their nature doesn't allow it. Instead, you'll witness a performance of extremes: denial, blame, fake remorse, and even rage, all designed to protect the image they're desperately clinging to. Most often, their first response is outright denial. You could present undeniable proof, texts, photos, even catching them in the act, and they'll still insist you misunderstood. They twist the situation so skillfully that you start questioning yourself. Am I too sensitive? Am I imagining things? This is their favorite game, warping reality and planting doubt in your mind. The deeper you sink, the more disoriented you feel, while they remain in control. If denial doesn't work, they shift to blame. Suddenly it's your fault. They'll say you didn't give them enough attention, that you stopped being attractive, that you were too busy or too distant. So they had no choice but to look elsewhere. Their betrayal gets recast as a logical outcome, and you, the wounded partner, are shoved into the role of the guilty one. This tactic is especially cruel because it doesn't just wound your trust, it strikes at your self-worth, leaving you carrying both heartbreak and guilt. Some narcissists take a different route: emotional theater. Tears streaming, desperate pleas, dramatic gestures, falling to their knees, swearing undying love. From the outside, it looks like raw heartbreak, but inside, it's a performance. They know you have a tender heart. They know false remorse can pull at your compassion. If you believe the act, the cycle resets. You forgive and they continue as before. But sometimes the mask falls completely. When denial fails, when the act no longer works, they reveal their true face: contempt and rage. They may laugh at your pain, mock your feelings, even challenge you outright. If you can't handle it, then leave. In that moment, the truth stands bare. They never valued loyalty, never planned to be faithful, never saw you as an equal partner. Facing this rage, many collapse under the weight. But the reality is, this is when the truth is clearest. Their mocking, their scorn, their fury, it's not strength. It's the flailing of a weak ego, too fragile to endure the light of truth. That screaming, that attacking, it's nothing but a shield to hide the emptiness inside. And here's what you must remember: whether they deny, blame, perform, or explode in anger, it all serves one purpose: to keep you under control. They don't fear losing you out of love. They fear losing the supply you provide, because to them love was never about genuine connection. It was always about feeding their illusion of greatness. When you see how they react to being caught, you're looking at the full picture of a narcissist. A person who will distort reality, turn victim into culprit, shed faked tears to manipulate, and finally bear their cold cruelty when nothing else works. Each reaction is a piece of the puzzle, and when put together, the truth is undeniable. This is not someone capable of love, only of control and deceit. And it's in that moment that you must summon the courage to ask yourself, am I willing to keep living in a relationship like this? Because once you've seen their nature, you can't unsee it. Part 5. What you should do when you find out. When the truth finally hits you, the first thing you'll feel is the storm of emotions. Your heart feels torn apart, your mind spins, and the question "why me?" echoes like a voice in an empty room. In that moment, you may want to scream, to seek revenge, to demand answers until the very end. But here's the paradox. The more you struggle, the deeper you fall into the narcissist's trap. The hardest, yet most important step is this: stay calm. You must remind yourself that their betrayal does not define your worth. They didn't cheat because you lacked something, because you weren't attractive enough, or because you didn't love enough. They did it because inside them exists a bottomless void no one can ever fill. Understanding this helps you release the weight of self-blame and instead see the situation with clarity. Once calm, ask yourself, do you truly want to remain in a relationship where loyalty never existed? Do you want to spend your life chasing someone who uses lies and betrayal to cover up their emptiness? These are not easy questions. Your heart still lingers, but being honest with yourself is what leads to the right decision. If you choose to stay, know that the chances of real change are slim. The promises, the tears, the dramatic performances might soften you, but ask yourself, how many times have you believed them, and how many times have they repeated the same betrayal? Real change only happens when someone confronts their own nature, and for a narcissist, that's nearly impossible. If you choose to leave, understand this: you are not weak. On the contrary, walking away is an act of courage. You're not running, you're protecting yourself, your heart, and your peace. Yes, there will be nights you cry, moments when you question your choice, but remember, the pain of leaving is temporary. The pain of staying could last a lifetime. In this process, boundaries are everything. Don't let them pull you back with sweet words or threats. Boundaries might mean silence. They might mean cutting off contact. They might simply mean refusing to engage in pointless arguments. Each boundary you set is a brick laid toward rebuilding your freedom. Don't hesitate to seek support. Talk with friends, lean on family, or work with a therapist. In a relationship with a narcissist, you may have grown used to isolation, used to your emotions being twisted. That's why you need an outside mirror, a voice reminding you that you are not crazy, that your pain is real, and that it matters. Take care of both your mental and physical health. Give yourself rest. Write in a journal. Move your body. Try meditation. Don't see these things as luxuries. They're medicine for recovery after a brutal psychological battle. Every small act of self-care is a step out of the toxic spiral. One powerful tool is developing a stoic mindset. Remember, you can't control someone else's behavior, but you can always control your response. Instead of asking, "Why did he do this to me?" shift the question to, "How do I choose to respond without losing myself?" That shift gives you back control of your own life. And finally, never forget, when one door closes, another opens. Infidelity may steal your trust, but it also hands you the chance to escape a toxic relationship. The pain you feel now could be the stepping stone to finding real love. A love where loyalty and respect aren't promises, but reality. When facing the betrayal of a narcissist, you don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to change to please them. What you need is to return to yourself, rebuild your self-worth, and choose the path that leads you back to peace. Looking back on the journey you've walked, you'll realize that being with a narcissist, was like surviving a storm. At first, it arrived as a gentle breeze, sweet words, dazzling promises. But soon, that breeze became a hurricane, dragging you into a whirlwind of lies and betrayal. And in the end, when the truth stood clear, all that remained was the wreckage inside your heart. But here's the truth you must carve deep into your mind. Their betrayal does not define you. It does not mean you're inadequate, unattractive, or unworthy of love. It says only one thing, that you gave your heart to someone who never had the capacity to value it. A narcissist may make you feel small, doubtful, even convince you that you were the reason things fell apart. But the reality is the opposite. You loved fully. You trusted. You gave everything you had. If there was a mistake, it was placing your trust in an empty heart. And that mistake does not make you weak. It makes you human. A human capable of love, sacrifice, and hope. Don't let this wound lock your heart forever. Yes, it hurts, and it will hurt for a while. But pain passes, just as every storm eventually fades. When the sky's clear, you'll stand stronger, wiser, and sharper in your choices. The scars will remain, but so will the growth. Believe this, you deserve to be loved by someone who values your honesty, who doesn't treat love as a game, who doesn't see loyalty as something to bargain with. Infidelity may have stolen your faith in them, but it cannot take away your ability to love or your worth. When you leave a narcissist, you're not just escaping a toxic relationship, you're reclaiming control of your life. Each step away from them is a step closer to peace. And that peace, in time, will guide you to a love that is healthy, whole, and real. A love where you are cherished for who you are, not for the role you can play in someone's manipulative game. See this experience for what it truly is, a bitter but valuable lesson. It teaches you to spot the warning signs, to set boundaries, and most importantly, to know that you never have to lose yourself to keep anyone else. Once you understand this, you won't fall so easily for hollow promises again. And if right now you still feel lonely, remember, you are not alone. Many have walked this same road. Many have cried, despaired, and yet eventually found the light again. You will too. So take a deep breath, hold your head high, and keep walking forward, because you deserve a love that is real, without lies, without betrayal, without power games. You deserve someone who sees your worth and treasures it with their whole heart. And if these words resonate with you, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so we can walk this journey of healing and peace together. Because after all, you are not just a victim of betrayal. You are living proof of the resilience of a heart that knows how to love and how to rise after it's been broken.